Well, time to discuss show business, and well, technology undoubtedly has made things easier in many sectors, and the music scene has not been left out. The ease of accessing tons of songs that would have taken days in physical record stores to collect has changed with streaming platforms optimizing this process at the click of a button. But is it reflecting on industry sales, and why are some artists raising concern if it is such a blessing? To explain this, on the second edition of our all-new segment, Show Business, is culture journalist with myjoyonline.com, Kenneth Awachudako. Good to have you in studio once again.
Good to be
I attempted explaining what music streaming is. I don't know if I did a good job, but tell us all about music streaming services.
Yeah, you're in the right part. I mean, it's basically physical, sounds being transferred into digital formats. So if you have a mobile phone, there are people who access their music from, for instance, Apple Music, there's Spotify, there's Tidal, among others. And so it's basically the same song that you listen to in your day-to-day activity, wherever you are, being migrated onto a digital platform where people can now pay and then, access, those services. And it's usually also easier to do for some people. It's very convenient for them to access music through that means rather than, for instance, if you're in the office and you're trying to get some music to listen to, instead of looking for like a radio set or a certain device to do that, the same phone that you make your phone calls with and everything, you're able to do that on the go. So there are a lot of people who are accessing these platforms, and they're also making some good, returns from that.
And so as the source of income is still a developing concept. And so tell us what it means in monetary terms for the industry.
So there's this research by the Global Music Reports in 2023, and it talks about the fact that in the last year, 2022, $26 million was made in the music sector alone when it comes to streaming.
Wow.
And so there's some huge amounts of money in there. And that also represents like a 9% increase on year-on-year basis. And so there's some prospects in there. And then there's also a lot of, advantages that comes with that. And so basically, in monetary terms, if you're a country that has a lot of structures to be able to make the most of it, then I think you are good to go.
I mean, those figures sound very good, and so it makes you wonder why artists are raising concerns.
So it's all stems from the payouts when it comes to the musicians themselves, the artists. So this is how the structure really works. And behind the scenes, people think when you stream a song, maybe you stream you stream a song for the first time, there's some huge money that goes to the artist, but that's not how it works. So every stream, for the lowest payout that I can talk about right now, is about 0.03 cents. That's what a stream counts for. And so to be able to give, for a song to be able to get about, $100, for instance, it has to be streamed about 100,000 times. You understand? And so if you look at those metrics and also look at the fact that not everything that is gotten by the streaming platform goes to the artist. I mean, there are other, channels in there that need to be sorted out as well. Because once, for instance, one of the platforms, right, there is a 30% cut that goes to the streaming service, and then 70% goes to the record label that the artist is dealing with. And so once that 30% is out of the way, that 70% that is supposed to go to the artist also has another angle that goes to the record label itself. Besides the record label, depending on how the negotiation between the artist and the record label is, the label gets that amount, the artist also gets the rest of the cut, and then has to also distribute it amongst the songwriter, the distributor, and also if there is a producer who has been assigned on the split sheets. And so it's not just like the one that you stream goes directly to the artist, but there are very different avenues of that. And so these are the reasons why some artists are, pushing for the payouts, for instance, like the lowest payout being like $0.03. They want that to be increased to help so that when the payouts come, they are able to get some amount of money to cushion themselves in the industry.
Makes sense, doesn't it? Well, I know it's difficult to figure out. Get the figures for local artists, but I'm just wondering whether our local artists are benefiting from this as well.
So these are some of the concerns that they have been raising. And it didn't even start today. It started from, years back. Other bigger artists, A-list artists have been complaining about this. Artists such as Snoop Dogg, the big artists that you can think of, Kanye West, everybody has been complaining about this over the years. But gradually, the local artists are also getting into that space where they are beginning to understand how things work and are beginning to raise the questions. Because in times like this, you begin to question how, sustainable some of these things are. And so I think it's very crucial that they raise some of these concerns so that the powers that be take these matters up.
What can be done, going forward, do you think?
So looking at the nature of big tech, right, it's not an individual's or an individual artist's role. They don't have that weight to do that. And so if there's a good place to start, it's going to be at the governmental level. This is the best time for policymakers to look at some of these initiatives and then jump ahead of it. For instance, like the artificial intelligence technology we're talking about. Okay. There has been a lot of conversation about government going into that sector to, understand how it works so that they can make policies that are tailored towards that. It's the same as the music sector as well and streaming. It's understandable that it's a fairly new concept, but if the powers that be try to get in that space, and the earlier the better.
Yeah, and there's so much money being made there. And thank you so much, Kenneth Audrey-Darko, for joining us, our culture journalist with myjoyonline.com. As always, he'll be here next week with some more show business news for us. Thank you so much. Well,